Welcome to Wow with JR, a podcast designed to help motivate others to grow by integrating practical skills, leadership principles, and teaching elements of the wilderness into our everyday lives. Now, for your host, Junior Humphrey.
Welcome, everybody. Thank you so much for joining today. If you are listening on podcast platforms, so awesome you're with us. If you're viewing, hey, you can see me. I can't see you. Obviously, I know that was weird. But today we are going to talk about the secret to leadership. Is there a secret to leadership? And if so, what is it? This is something that I'm very, very passionate about, is leading other people and just an example of a leadership lifestyle. But before we dive in, I got two quick announcements. First one is I'm moving all announcements over to our micro vlogs. So moving forward, the podcast will have a highlighted announcement, which I will give you here in just a moment. But this announcement, number one, is that we have started micro-vlogging on this YouTube channel, if you're watching this on YouTube. If not, go join our YouTube channel. That's where we will be giving all of our updates and announcements and things like that to kind of help clean up the podcast and bring you good content. But also be able to go more in depth in the details of the things we have going on here, because there's a lot going on in this early stages of Wild, and there's a lot of information we need to get out to you guys and that we want you to hear. So that being said, jump over and be looking out for that micro vlog of announcements, and it's just updates on us as people, family, whatever. So if you want to follow us, go do that through the micro vlogs. Announcement number two, we have a giveaway that we are doing on our Instagram. This is our highlighted announcement for today. So if you don't follow us on Instagram, go do so. Be looking out. There should be something on our story already kind of introducing that we are doing a giveaway. But the giveaway will be on Instagram. We've partnered with this really awesome company that we believe in, we trust, and we love. We actually have their products, have had for years. They have been super gracious enough to sponsor this giveaway. So what they've done is they've given us a gift to give to you as listeners and followers and supporters, and we will give all the contest details on our Instagram and all other platforms, but the contest will be held on Instagram. So look out everywhere for the info. Make sure you're on Instagram because it's really cool. We have a great opportunity here, and it's awesome building relationships with this sponsor that we can continue to grow in the future. So enough announcements. Go to our vlog to see more on announcements and updates, and I'll even dive into that one a little more. But moving forward today, we have the question, is there a secret to leadership? Or what is the secret to leadership? So let's break this down, and then if you stick with me to the end, I'm going to answer the question yes or no. But first, we need to break down what leadership looks like and just kind of get your brain moving so you can help make a decision too. Because starting out, I believe this idea of a secret to leadership. This is how you be a great leader. This is the thing that you do. I believe it's kind of preference in a sense. So there could not be a secret. Just follow me on this. So, like for instance, I think a great leader, qualities of a great leader is you're adding value to people and you're creating pathways. So let's look at those. Break those down. When you think of adding value to people, it's just that, simple as can be. You add value, you invest in them. So when you create pathways, it's just that. You are making it easier for the next one coming along. So with that being said, take those focal points right there. When you're following a great leader, there's two parts. There's the leader and there's the follower. You as the follower are a key component to making a great leader. Stick with me on this. So what I mean by that is you must first learn to follow well before you can lead well. So when we evaluate great leaders, that's what we want to kind of start looking at. We want to look at what is their fellowship journey to becoming a leader. Leadership is a tricky thing. Leadership is a full-time investment, a 24/7 on switch of pouring into people. And not only pouring into people, but setting examples, creating those pathways, as we're saying. So, with that, what you do to get to a leadership position is very important. Now, you have some people that are just influential and they're great with words and they can inspire the crowds. But what's their journey? This is not saying this to any motivational speaker or anything like that. There are thousands of great leaders out there and that have great fellowship stories. But there are some that just deem themselves a leader and say, hey, follow me. Those are ones you got to be cautious about, because do they know what it's like to be a follower? Do they know what it's like to feel like a follower? That's where the pathways come in. So when you create pathways, you're making it easier. Think of myself in my leadership journey. I've had a ton of fellowship, and I've been able to learn by following from a lot of influential people, some incredible leaders, a lot of cool investments into my life personally. But it was easier for me than it was for the person that went through it the first time, because they were having to figure it out. They were having to break down the barriers. They were having to get the resources. They were having to network, make the connections, those kind of things. So by blazing that trail, per se, they were able to become a great leader because they understood what it meant to follow. So, let's look at that. When you are being a follower, you have a ton of different options to look at in leaders. There's several different types of leaders. So, you have the firm leader, that one that stands their ground and just doesn't let a whole lot slip through the cracks, okay? You have the angry leader, the one that just doesn't want to be home, doesn't like life, but knows there's a task that has to be done, or they're just internally angry. You have the leaders that are compassionate. Those are the ones that feel with you, they sympathize with you, they understand. You have leaders that are hyper, exhilarating. They are very ambitious. And those leaders, they're great. They all are like motivated. And they motivate other people. That's incredible. Then you have leaders that are somewhat lazy. They like to take the back burner and just kind of watch. There are a ton of leaders. You have mean, nice, soft, hard, angry. I mean, the list goes on. So as a follower, you got to determine what leader are you following. Well, any one of those traits, or any trait you can think of in a leader, if it's just that trait, it will not work. They will struggle to be a great leader. You can't be firm without compassion. You can't be compassionate without being firm. See what I'm saying? You can't be hyper without having a kind of a low gear. But you also can't have that low gear and never operate in a high gear. It'll come back to bite you in the butt, per se. So as a follower, you're looking at those leaders that you want to follow. And this is going to transition back into being a leader, but I needed to bring us into what it feels like and what it's like from the follower's mentality so you can understand the journey to leadership. So stick with me, okay? So in choosing these people that you follow, sometimes you have no choice. You get this job, and the job is what the job is, and you learn your leader, your boss, while you're there. Now, some bosses are managers, some bosses are leaders. There's a huge difference, and we'll go into that in a totally different podcast. But when you follow, essentially they're all leaders. So when you get that job, you interview and you know kind of, well, this is our core values. This is what we stand for, blah, blah, blah. Those kind of things. When you start working with them, you learn actually who they are as a leader. And I've had opportunity to work with some incredible leaders. So this is cool being on the follower side, but also being in leadership positions. So I understand both sides of it, and I understand the need of both sides, okay? So when you're looking for these traits in your leader as a follower, you must look for multiple traits, okay? Be cautious and be careful of continuing to follow someone who doesn't lead well. The reason being is because they will either program that leadership style and culture in you, or you will harden yourself towards leadership, period. I've been in both spectrums of that, overcome both spectrums of that. So the leaders, they lead by example, okay? And just a faith plug here. As you know, I'm a man of faith. Think of Jesus. Jesus was a great leader, but he learned to follow first, okay? He had great fellowship. He had incredible fellowship. He did what needed to be done, what he knew needed to be done to create a pathway for others and to set an example, okay? So if you really want the ultimate leader, study Jesus. He was really, really great leader. But jumping back to our leadership talk, leading by example. Leading by example is key and important. So as a leader, there's values that you have, there's traits and there's things that you have. Well, think about Jesus. Truth in love. You can't have one without the other. If you do, it's a mess. You can't be super truthful because where's the love aspect? Where's the grace? You can't be too gracious because, hey, I love you, but the truth is you need to get up and do something, okay? Or you need to stop, whatever the case may be. So now, say this. Leadership is not something you jump into for authority. Leadership, again, is something you jump into to add value to people. But is leadership something you put yourself into? Don't know yet. Let's keep moving on, and we'll see what that looks like. But leading by example, okay? So think about this. We camp I used to work at. I mentioned this place a few times, but the camp we used to work at, it was incredible because of the model of the fellowship there. So it was all boys, and then you had your counselors. And there was a girls' camp down the road as well. But the boys, the counselors or chiefs as they were called, set the example of what it should look like to live a godly life, a life of a man of nobility, honor, respect, and being a great follower. And then we were leading by example in those things. So when you look at these kids, they're out here. And it's an outdoor camp, so you live in the woods, you live in the wild. It's really cool. And you're cooking your own food, gathering your own wood, building your own shelters. You name it, you're doing it. And you're out here exploring. And you're showing them how to have a good time and how to be fun, but at the same time, how to respect others, how to consider others, how to view others, how to be observant, how to investigate, how to study, those kind of things. So as a leader in that aspect, you are leading by example by doing those things too. When they're doing schoolwork, sit down and help figure it out with them. When they are cutting wood, show them how to properly cut wood so they don't hurt themselves, so they don't tire out, so they don't waste the wood. You don't want to just go tear up the forest and just demolish it. There's a method to it to where you can be conservative and only need or use what you need and not be wasteful. So just leading by example in those aspects at that camp was incredible. And I think about that in my everyday life, and you may as well, from the people you follow or the place you work at. What example are they setting for me as a leader? What example am I able to follow here? What pathways are they creating? Is it one of these things where they've been there, done that, they've reached their status, now it's just, I need you to work for me? Or is it, hey, I've been there, done that, I know it's tough, so I'm going to stick with you through this because I want you to be here with me as well. Now, with that, jumping from the fellowship over to leadership. As a leader, there are some key traits, yes, you must have, but there's also some self-evaluation that you must do too. What is your capacity? What are your abilities? What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? How far is too far? That's in last week's podcast. Go check that one out. There's a lot of things you have to do as a leader. So being a good leader, you must learn to be an investigator. When you hire somebody, or you're a lead guide on an adventure, you're going out hiking or something, you have to investigate and evaluate not only your place, your surroundings, but the people you're with. What kind of people are they? What is their moods? What are their strengths? Can they climb this rock? Can they swim through this water? Are they able to carry this weight? Who knows? Now you investigate a little farther. What's their emotional stability? If I push them to just go over the edge, once they get repelling, they'll be fine. But can I coax them coach them over the edge? Can I get them? Are they teachable? Do they retain it? Do they regurgitate it? Can they mimic the culture? Are they along for the journey? Or are they just here for an Instagram photo or a patch? You know what I mean? So being a great leader, you must learn to be a great investigator and observer. Okay? Another thing, know your capacity. Am I able to lead these people? Okay? So it may be as simple as, hey, I have 4 people, incredible strength. They're just fit. They do this every day. I'm going to go lead them. Quick assessment, evaluate them. This is incredible. This is going to be fun. Or it's, I have a mixed culture, mixed weight size, mixed age group of people, different streets, different weaknesses, some disabilities maybe. Do I have the capacity to lead these people? Do I need someone that specializes in certain areas? Do I need to just be a co-leader in this? Again, being a great leader is not always about being at the front. Being a great leader is adding value and setting others up for success. So you may add value to somebody by saying, hey, this is your expertise, and since I know it is, I'm going to partner with you and I want you to partner with me. I'll help fill in all the other blanks, but since you specialize in this, I need you. Now, being a great leader, let those people know that you need them, okay? It's not that you need them to be successful. You're a leader. You're already successful, okay? All leaders are successful because you've overcome something to help instill and invest it into someone else. That makes you successful, okay? So keep that in mind, leaders. You are successful. So we want to set others up for success. It's the whole reason for this model I'm talking about of adding value and creating pathways. Now, I am not a leadership guru. These are things that I have learned. These are things that have helped me, methods I have seen. There's a ton of different styles and methods all compiled into one here at Wild that we consider leadership. And these are some of the values and principles and things we go off of. And there are some leadership classes that we will offer to break down and dive into this more. But until then, here's a little spiel on it, okay? So we talked about being an investigator, knowing your capacity as a leader, all right? Letting people know you need them. Again, it's not that you need them for your success, but you need them as a teammate, okay? I don't care how great of a leader you are. A house is still a house. If you have to lift a house, you need more people. I don't care how great of a leader you are. A car with no gas still needs help pushing it up the hill. You're going to struggle by yourself, okay? That's what I mean by needing people. You need people in your corner, people you're doing life with. You need people on your team, people that know that, hey, I am successful, but I couldn't be here without you, okay? Now, in that, recognizing those people, these are some things, these are key indicators, I believe, of being a great leader. So from a follower perspective, jumping back into that, do they recognize me? So take us back into the wild a little bit. Here we are at camp, thinking of perspective from the boys, because you have the boys and the counselors, and then the counselors, and then all the supervisors. So we're all thinking the same. The boys are thinking, do they see me? Do they hear that I can't do this? Do they hear that I am struggling to comprehend, to learn? I'm not physically capable. I don't know what I'm going to do. All right, now move to the counselors. Do my supervisors see I'm putting in all the hard work I can? They're just not getting it. Do the supervisors see that I'm putting in extra hours and extra effort? Do they notice me? Do they care that I've had a stressful day and I need time with my family? So these are things to consider. All right, so out of the wild, back into normal life. Here we are. key traits from a follower to look at. When you think about it, are they listening to you? Do your leaders notice you? Do they respect you? Do they consider your family? Do they buy do they buy into you and your dreams and your visions as a person? Because remember, as a leader, you're not just looking for people to help your journey and your dream and your vision. You're looking for people that are going to be there that you can pour into and add value to, okay? So in that, the last job I had, I'm very gracious to have an amazing boss that said, hey, I want to talk to you. I recognize your journey. I recognize where you are. I see your strengths and your weaknesses and those kind of things. Let's talk. Let's evaluate, okay? So I hear your passions. I know you're a family man. Hear all these things. So he had all these traits was listening to or that we're talking about here, and it was a conversation of, I know what your dream is. Would you like to chase it? And if so, how can I help? So here we are. I am now at my dream job, getting to do my other dream, which is Wild, help build and create Wild. But in the background, my day-to-day is a dream job for me. And it's really, really cool because that leader in my life recognized I had value. I was useful. He did need me, but he also realized, hey, I can add more value to him by investing in him and helping him on his dream. So he helped get interviews set up. He helped the whole 9 yards. And to this day, it was a smooth transition. We still talk on a weekly basis. I love that man. And it's incredible that he was able to recognize that in me, even in the midst of me not really recognizing I was doing it. When I was asked about a hobby or something, I was talking about my dreams and my visions and things like that. And it would always come up in conversation. Now, saying that, I also stayed focused. I got my work done. I focused on my job. I was there when I was there. I was 100% there. When I wasn't, that's when I invested time in my other stuff. But when I got asked questions about my passions and things, then I talked about them. So, him as a great leader, he recognized that. Now, he also recognized that he didn't have the capacity to take me any farther in those dreams, okay? Because he was in this field, the EMS field, prior, but he's been out of it for a while. So he said, hey, I know my capacity. I can teach you stuff, but you need a proper teaching. In order for you to chase your dreams fully, you're going to need to do it right and start right. So he helped me get to where I am today. I consider that an incredible leader. There have been others in the past that have set me up for success, that have recognized things in my life that have helped me get place to place to place. My entire journey through life has been all glory to God. He has helped me so much, but he has also placed incredible leaders in my life to instill some incredible knowledge in me to help me get to where I am today as a man, as a husband, as a father, as a leader here, sharing my journey with you guys. So with that being said, I just want to kind of recap, make sure we're not losing our focus here. So we talked about, is there a secret to leadership? Okay. We're trying to discover and kind of mull on that question together and see, is there a secret to leadership? So we looked at, it must be genuine. They can't be fake. Okay. Real leaders are genuine people. They are who they are, off the clock, on the clock. You see them, you know them. Okay. Talked about the different types of leaders, the soft, compassionate, blah, 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 the angry. So we talked about different types of leaders, and we talked about how they lead by example. Okay. So, and what it's like to be a follower. So I want to jump back to the follower perspective a little bit, because when you talk about a leader leading from example, as a follower, you also have to know the lines there, okay? You can't blur the lines as a follower. A great leader will always, always be subject and ready and willing to get in the weeds with you, to get dirty, to drop to the back of the line to make sure you're okay, to make sure you fully understand. You have a clear reading of the vision, a clear understanding of the goal and the objective that has to be taken care of, okay? But as a follower, you must realize too, they can't spend all their time in the weeds, okay? Think of an eagle. An eagle's up high, flying around. When he's hungry, he's hunting, okay? Every now and then he'll dip down, but he dips down long enough to take care of something, and he's back out, okay? So we're not putting leaders on a pedestal, but leaders must be the same way. Leaders must be able to lead from a position to where they can see the entire journey. They can see where we've come from, what's going on, and where we're going, okay? As a follower, you're in the weeds. You're the one that is trusting that leadership. Now, that's not downplaying you one bit. Just because you're in the weeds, per se, doesn't make you any less than. It means you're boots on the ground, okay? You are boots on the ground. You are that in a search and rescue. Let's go out into the woods a little bit. In search and rescue, you are boots on the ground. You are physically down there trekking, while that helicopter's in the air also looking. Now, the helicopter can see where you've been, where you're going, and what's going on. That's that leader. That leader's in that helicopter. Now, leaders, don't be a helicopter leader. Don't hover too much. You have to trust your people. Followers, you have to give them a reason to trust you. They brought you on, or they are investing in you because they see something in you. Maybe you don't see it or don't know, but they do. That's the reason they are leading you, because they know they have the capacity, the capability, the tools to invest in you and to help you grow, okay? So as a follower, realize they can't spend all the time in the weeds. So if you expect them to, or if you try to pull them there, you are hindering yourself. Not only that leader, but you're hindering yourself by not allowing them to continue to grow to help you grow, okay? Now, as a follower, again, don't be the helicopter leader where you hover over everything. If you trust your team, not only let them know you need them like we talked about, let them know you trust them. And one way to do it is showing, not just telling, yeah, I trust you. I know that you won't do anything. Show them. Back off a little bit. Give them space to make mistakes. Give them space to figure it out. Give them space to clean up their own mess. Always be there ready and willing to stoop in and help, but give them space. A great leader knows, okay? Great leader knows that they can take their hands off of it. A great leader knows when to take their hands off of it and when to grab the reins again, okay? But you will never allow anyone to grow. You take any plant out here and you put a coffee mug, even if it's a glass, well, let's take a mason jar, it's clear. You take a clear mason jar and put over that flower, it's only going to grow to the capacity of that jar, okay? If it's ventilated properly. Now, if it's not ventilated, you're going to suffocate it, okay? So you can give them a little bit of space, but still be hovering, and they will only grow to the capacity that you give them space to grow as a leader. So if you really want things to flourish, if you really want your mission and vision to grow, if you want that person to grow, because remember, it's not just about you, it's about who you're investing in, take the jar off. Lift that jar. Not only to give them space, nourish them. Give them what they need. Give them whatever they need to grow. And you can even speed that growth up just a hair with certain things. Add ways to speed that growth up because it's only going to benefit you as a leader, okay? It's only going to benefit you as a leader. So looking at this, we kind of think about leaders having traits. Followers have traits too. Being a great follower, you must be teachable. You must be willing to learn. I guess those fall in the same. You must be okay and subject to corrections and healthy conflict. These are traits that even a leader should have. You must be okay with forced growth. Sometimes there must be, hey, we need to relocate this plant because it's just in a bad spot. Okay? Well, I've never grown in sand before. Sorry. Unfortunately, I need you to step up to the challenge and grow in sand. Now, a great leader has been in those footsteps. They have been in that exact spot. They've been that flower that's been pulled out of topsoil, planted in sand, and needed to grow in the sand. And they are where they are today because they took root and they grew well. Okay? So as a follower, you must remember that sometimes you might be relocated. Some of the leadership principles, seat on the bus. Well, you might be in the wrong seat on the bus. Now, that leader has investigated. They have the capacity to help you. They have done their research, and they know, hey, he's an incredible person. And might even succeed well in that, but I see that he or she could succeed in a much different area and grow even farther. So I'm going to pull them up and put them over there. Place them on a different seat on the bus because I see that that's where they are. Okay? Now, that different seat on the bus might not be on their team. It might not be on their leadership, whatever. It might not be in their company, if it is a company. Okay? Think of a trip. Okay? Think of taking an adventure. We have rappelling, we have rock climbing. Okay? We have someone who loves being on the ground, who hates being up too high. Okay? So, why would we force them to go rappelling? You have two 80-foot walls. One you climb up and one you rappel down. That person that's wanting to go rappelling is struggling to get over the edge. We know they have potential. We know they're strong, they're athletic, they're capable. They just have that one thing that they can't get over. That's their lid. They've hit their lid. And we know we don't have the full capacity right now or the time, given the situation, to invest in that present moment. Not saying we will never invest, but as a leader in that present moment to get them over the edge. So we must relocate them. You as a follower, this is what I'm talking about. Be okay with you had your mindset on rappelling that day. Okay? You're going out to do that rappel, but you get there and you realize, hey, you're right. I probably need to swap over to the climbing for today and either free up that spot for someone else to rappel or just stick with the climbing. So you get that person over to the climbing. Now you've set them up for success because they love their feet on the ground. They are now gauging how high they go up. They are gaining confidence. And guess what? By the end of the day, they went from climbing 10 feet to now climbing the full 80 feet. So now they can go back and do the rappel. Why? Because you set them up for success as a leader. You realize where they needed to be, when they needed to be there. And you as a follower, you set yourself up for success by realizing it's okay to force yourself a little bit. Okay? So this is talking about leadership, so I don't want to spend all the time on fellowship, but I had to put fellowship in there so you can learn and understand what it takes. So being a great leader, we talked on the very front end, adding value and creating pathways. And the only way to do that is to be there to walk through those shoes. So we talked about overnight success leaders and then those that have been on the journey and those that are accredited. Though I heard a quote one time and I love it, and I think I have it on some of my social media, but I absolutely love this. A great man or woman does not call or does not seek to lead, they are called to it. A great person does not seek to lead, they are called to it. And what that means is, it's not just something you say, hey, today I'm going to be a leader and I'm just going to go do it. It is something you're called to, and when you're called to it, it's something that's instilled in you, that's ingrained in you, that just comes out. Okay? Leadership is multiple people around you recognizing, hey, you are an incredible leader. No, hey, you're an incredible leader. Well, thank you. No, really, you're a great leader. And when those people recognize it in you, then it puts that, hey, this must be what I am created with leadership qualities, leadership, how do you say that? Leadership attributes. I don't even know if that's the right word, but thank y'all for going there with me. But you are called to be a leader. So in that, you must go through that journey to know what it's like. You got to. So leaders, if you are trying to lead from a place of you just want authority or you just want to lead, I can tell you right now, that is a secret for disaster. Okay? That is a secret sauce for disaster. Don't try to force yourself to do something that you can't do. If you can't lead in all capacities of that leadership, that path that you're doing, don't step into it, okay? Because things will hit you and things will come up that you're not prepared for. If you're going to be a leader in outdoor leadership, be ready for all aspects of outdoor leadership. If you're going to be business leadership, be ready for all aspects of business leadership, okay? Now, that's not saying you can't speak to all, because leadership, the basics of leadership should be a general culture across the board. It's the lanes and the avenues that make them specific to, if you're going to speak directly to that, make sure you have that, okay? So today I'm speaking very general of all leaders. All leaders. This should be able to be applied in any leadership level or position, okay? Executive, floor leader, crew leader, whatever it may be, wherever you are. So with that said, we are going to do leadership classes. We do have people on our team, our staff, that are versed in business leadership, outdoor leadership, those kind of things. So that's what some of our leadership classes we're going to teach, and even trainings that we're going to do to help better people. And if you'd love for us to come speak on leadership, let us know. We will definitely come speak at your facility or event, whatever. We would love to do that. Just email us or reach out to us on social media. But being a great leader, that pathway is important. And that hit me at a leadership conference a couple years ago. I was sitting there and I thought of, man, going back to camp, just taking us back outside. We like to do that here at Wild. We go outside a good bit. But when we did shift change was an incredible time to do this. But even day to day, so at camp, we had sections. We had a mess hall that we ate at a couple times a week. We had a trading post where we went and bought pencils or whatever with money we earned or got sent to us there. We had to go collect firewood, those kind of things. We had a wash house where the camp staff helped wash clothes and we go pick them up. So there was a lot of walking and many miles of walking. There was a ton of space in between these camps, and it was for the safety aspect. And I cannot go into any details of it because of the safety aspect, other than it was 2 miles plus between some checkpoints. So there was a ton of walking. And if you were at the front of the line, which didn't always have to be a counselor, whoever it was, you were responsible for knocking down spider webs. You were responsible for kicking big sticks off the path. You were responsible for pointing out, hey, there's a root, there's a hole. I think we should probably go left here because, or that's left. I think we should go left here because this is kind of wet, mushy, or whatever it may be. So essentially, you are blazing that trail. Now, think of the people who created those pathways to start with. All right, they weren't that into it as far as the minute details. Their main thing was, how can I get them to point A to point B safely? So they did all the hard work of cutting down extra trees, moving enormous rocks, blazing that trail, perfecting that trail, walking that trail, wearing it down. If you've never blazed a trail, we even have classes on that. It's more than just kicking a path or raking a path. If you really want to blaze a good trail and still have it look natural, there's a lot that goes into it, okay? If you want to do it quickly, not just let it accumulate over time. So you think about the people that did that. They set the others up for success, which are the ones that are now navigating on those trails, which in turn are the ones that are now following on those trails. So guess what? At 7 a.m., if we're going to collect firewood and we are knocking whoever, let's say little Jimmy's up front knocking down spider webs and navigating us around all those things, the next line leader has been set up for even more success because now they don't have to knock any of that stuff down. Spider webs are clean. They know the path now. They know what to look for. Any other obstacles have been moved. It's incredible. That is the heart behind creating pathways. And as a leader, that's what we want to strive to do, is make it easier for other people. Now you have those leaders that's like, no, I worked hard, so they're going to work hard. That's great. Everybody should have to work hard. Everybody should have to put their part in. But I can guarantee you, if you want something to grow, or if you want to see a vision blossom and take off, create pathways within that vision, create pathways in life, create pathways in people's lives, okay? Remember, we're here to add value to people. And here at Wild, that is what we are striving to do, and that's what we want to do, is add value to people. And we're doing that by creating pathways as well. There's so many opportunities here, so many teachable opportunities, class opportunities, you name it. Wild is an open door. We will go over all that in our vlogs. Just stick with us. But today, the question we opened up with is there a secret to leadership? If so, what is that secret? I'm here to tell you, I don't believe there's a secret to leadership. There's not one secret. There's tons of secrets. And those are secrets that you learn and you share in the moment with that person that helped you personally succeed to get to where you are, to help them succeed to get to where they need to be. Those are the secrets. The secrets are, hey, get close, help carry my bags, and I'll teach you what I know. That's the secret sauce, the investment, if there was one. But I really don't think there's a special way to be a leader other than to remember to add value to people and create pathways. And I hope that is the takeaway for today. I hope that we stayed on track well enough with it. But just to recap, just a summary so you can leave knowing what we're talking about, okay? As a leader, add value to people, create pathways, okay? In order to be a great leader, you first must learn to follow well. So if you're struggling with that, no better time than to start now. Pick an avenue or pick a way to try to follow, whether it's just saying, hey, I do know what I'm doing here, but I'm going to take a back seat just to learn, or get yourself under another leader. If you've reached a level and you don't have someone above you, then you're not growing. You must always have someone to strive for. We have several layers that we're aspiring for here at Wild as far as leadership goes, okay? There are several different types of leaders. As a leader, pick which leader you are. Can't just have one trait. You must have multiple because they complement each other. As a follower, what leader do you want to follow? Okay? Leading by example. Speaking of that pathway, lead by example. Don't be afraid, leaders, to get in the weeds. Don't be afraid to get in the weeds. If you have grown too far up and you're not growing enough out as a leader, then you're in a bad place. Followers, remember, leaders can't spend all their time in the weeds, so don't expect them to, and don't make it to where they have to. That way they can serve you and others well, okay? And then, followers, take initiative and show them that you can be trusted, but leaders, trust your people. Give them some space to grow. Give them space to grow. And remember, as leaders, make time for your followers. Consider their families. Consider their feelings. Consider them as a person. Recognize them. Spend time with them. It doesn't have to be 3 nights a week you're eating with them. But every once in a while, a text message or a phone call goes a long way. Hey, I remember last week you mentioned your grandmother was in the hospital. How is she doing? I have leaders in my life, the boss I was telling you about just a moment ago, other people in my life that constantly call or text and check on me. While I may not always be able to respond because I am very busy with classes and life and parenthood and just the whole 9 yards, as we all are. I'm not saying I'm busier than anyone else, but sometimes when I prioritize things, responding to a text message may not always be right then. I do respond. It may not always be right then. Now, if it's an emergency, you need me, let me know that. But if it's just a general checkup, we all have everyday lives. We all understand, okay? But it is incredible to have that investment and people checking on you. Have grace. I remember I was working on a windshield, and one of my bosses said, hey, I need you to fix this windshield. It got hit by a rock, had a little hole. If you're watching the video, you can see my hand here. It had a little hole, had this little kit about the size of a dip can, if you know how big of a dip can is. And then you put it on there, fill it up with the stuff, and then you press it and hold it, and then it fills it in. But what I did is when I pressed the angle I was at, I kind of shifted my body weight and I cracked the windshield on a BMW. I was terrified, afraid to say, hey, guess what I just did? But I did. I was like, you know what? I am going to be a good follower. Hey, this just happened. Please come look at this. Please know it was an accident. It was a mistake. And the response I got was, what did you learn? Well, learn not to push too hard. All right. What else did you learn? I learned not to push too hard, and if I don't know what I'm doing, don't do it. All right, then we're good. So it freaked me out a little bit, but then I questioned, are you not mad? He said, yeah, I'm pretty upset because that's a windshield in the BMW, and now I have to pay for it. I said, no, I'll pay for it. He said, I don't want you to. He said, this is a lesson you just learned. That you'll never make this mistake again, which I hope not. And he said, this is my investment into you. You're not going to pay for it. I'll pay for it. But just know, moving forward, let's not make this mistake again. I was like, that's incredible leadership. So leaders, have grace. Have buy-in. Like my other boss, if there's a dream you know your person has, that person following you, if you don't totally help them transition into it, support it. And then even past that, support it. Support them in it. Check up on them. Be a part if you can. Pop in every now and then. Those kind of things. But bringing everything full circle. Add value to people and create pathways. That, if there had to be a secret nailed down to leadership, that is it. That's it. And I hope that this has been informational for you guys. I hope it has been good. If you don't already, please subscribe. Actually, I'm going to give you a call to action. Go ahead right now and subscribe. Go ahead right now and follow us. Go to the link in the description and follow our social media. Also, be looking out for that giveaway. It's a really cool giveaway, cool opportunity here with the sponsor. And if you want to know more information and updates on anything else, check out the vlog that is also on our YouTube channel. Hope you have enjoyed this session. Sorry about that. We love you and we thank you for being one of the best, most valuable parts of Wild through your support and your buy-in to us. That's incredible. But we're excited to see you again soon. But until then, stay true, stay wild.
You've been listening to Wild with JR. Join us next time for more insight and encouragement to help you live out your full leadership potential.